Hello friends, we're going to be doing our forces in motion review before our test. And I'm just going to go over some answers for you. Number 1, forces that cause a change in motion are called unbalanced forces. Remember, in order for any motion to happen, you have to have unbalanced forces. One has to be stronger than the other. A force of attraction between two objects, even if they are not touching, is gravity. A push or pull which causes movement or a change in an object's movement or shape is a force. Forces on an object that are equal in size but opposite in direction are balanced forces. And the last one is a force that opposes motion is friction. All right, number 6, Surrey places magnets on 3 identical toy cars as shown below. Then Surrey measures how far each car rolls when she launches it from the same starting point using a same stretch rubber band. Which statement is true? Car 3 will travel the longest distance. Car 1 will travel the shortest distance. Car 1 will be the least affected by the force acting upon it. Car 3 will be the least affected by the force acting upon it. So, if car 3, car 2, and car 1 all have the same force, the heaviest car will have it will be least affected by the force acting upon it because it is heavier and you will need more force to push it the same distance as car 1 and car 2. So D is our answer here. Number 7, when you coast down a hill on a bicycle, you move faster and faster. Then when you keep coasting on a level surface, you eventually stop moving. What causes you to stop? Now I think about the opposing motion, which is friction. So let's see if we can find something on here. No force is acting on your bike on the level surface, so it stops moving. After you reach the bottom of the hill, you run out of energy, so you stop moving. Friction between the tires and the ground is an unbalanced force that changes your motion. Gravity affects you when you move downhill, but there's no gravity when you move on a level surface. Our answer is friction here. There is gravity when you move downhill, but there is also gravity when you are on a level surface. There's always going to be gravity pulling on you. That's why that is not correct. Our next question. Katie uses all of her force to roll a bowling ball away from her body. Then Katie repeats the same procedure with a soccer ball. How does the movement of the two balls contrast? The soccer ball moves a greater distance because more force is acting on it. The soccer ball moves a great distance because it has less mass. The bowling ball moves a greater distance because it has more mass. The bowling ball moves a shorter distance because less force is acting upon it. Now the soccer ball is going to move further because it weighs less, so you need to have less force in order for you to push it forward. Number 9, an object is traveling in a straight line in space. No forces are affecting it. What will happen to the object's motion? If there's no forces acting upon it, it will not change. It will just keep going and going until a force either stops it or moves its direction. 10. 4 forces are acting on the block shown in the illustration below. F is the applied force. So here's F. This is our pull. FF is our friction, which is when I pull it, the friction is actually slowing it down. FG is our gravitational force. It's holding it to the table. FN is the upward force of the table on the block. If the force is applied to the block and it does not move, which statement is true? So that means if I am pulling a block and the block does not move, that means that my force is the same as the friction. These are balanced forces. I need to have a larger force than my friction in order to make it move. So FF and F are equal. Number 11. A group of students measured the amount of force needed to move a weight across a dry plastic tabletop. Then they poured some water on the table and repeated the experiment on the wet surface. The students found that less force was needed to make the weight start moving on the wet surface than the dry surface. What caused the difference in the results of the two experiments? Now, when we add water, we decrease or lessen friction. So that would be right here. The change in friction between the weight and the surface. Number 12. Jean held a spring with a weight hanging on its hook. She observed that the force on the scale was 3 newtons. Why was the force greater than 0 newtons even though the weight was not moving? Because gravity is still pulling on it. So A. Number 13. A crane raises and lowers objects and also moves them back and forth. The following illustration shows a crane lifting a heavy box. What must a crane work against in order to lift the box upward? It must work against gravity. The following table shows masses of several different objects. You want to toss each object a distance of 2 meters. Which object will require the more force to toss it 2 meters? The heaviest block, which is the wooden block, is 22. The rock is 16. The plastic disc is 34. Oh, the plastic disc is the heaviest. It will require the most force to move. So the heavier the object, the more force you need it to move. The following table shows the masses of 4 blocks and the forces that are being applied to them. Which block will have the greatest change in motion? So, if I have, let's see here, so my pushing force is the same. My friction force is the same. But my one that has the largest change in motion is going to be the one that has the smallest mass, because that is the one that is going to go the furthest. It has the smallest mass. 16. The following illustration shows forces that are acting on a box. So we have 60 here, and 20 newtons gravitational. What type of motion will the forces cause? The box, since there is no force going up, the box will move down because this would be 0. The box will go toward where this is unbalanced, so it will go down. These are balanced, so nothing will happen. And that is our review.